The clock is ticking for dairy farmers across the state as their milk market runs dry. Young farmers signed the pledge to keep the tradition of cattle farming alive. This year, Beef Month gave back to Kentucky, and it gave in a big way. You're watching Kentucky Cattle News. Hi, I'm your host, Kaya Twisselman. June is Dairy Month in Kentucky, but for many dairymen across the state, their future is uncertain. In late February, Dean Foods, a supplier of Walmart's Great Value Milk brand, announced it will terminate procurement contracts with 19 Kentucky dairies, as well as dairies across 7 other states.
The dairy's been good to us. I mean, we bought this farm in 1972, and it brought enough income in to pay it all off and 2 others. So we've got a good history with farm dairying. It's just unfortunate we're going to have to quit now.
Bob Klingenfuss in Oldham County says after Dean's decision, he has no market for his milk. The younger cows he can sell to other dairies, but the older cows will have to go to market at a time when prices for dairy cows haven't been good.
I saw this coming. My miscalculation was it came 2 years earlier than I thought it would. We weren't ready for it to happen quite this fast.
The reason for the cut? Walmart has started its own production facility in Indiana and will no longer need to purchase milk from the Dean Foods plant in Louisville. Dean has announced the Louisville plant will soon be closing, cutting the milk needed from the Kentucky dairies. Maury Cox with the Kentucky Dairy Development Council says with milk surpluses and dismal prices, it's cheaper for entities like Walmart to source their milk from states with more large-scale dairies.
This is a kind of a progression that's been occurring over the years. We have seen less Kentucky milk and more out-of-state milk being hauled in.
We've been selling milk to Dean since 1990, which I guess that's roughly 28 years. They canceled our contract at a time when it was going to be so difficult to find another market.
John Calmey's family has been in the dairy business since 1922 and have milked on their Shelby County farm since 1948. Dean gave Calmey and the remaining dairies a cutoff deadline until the end of June. After June, Dean will stop picking up their milk.
If we don't have another milk market by the end of the month, we'll obviously have to sell the milk cows, and we'll probably wind up eventually selling everything. There's a lot of people who lost their market who have sons and grandsons who want to continue in the business. I know a couple different people that just recently spent quite a bit of money building new barns, and they've still got payments on those facilities.
Even after talks with some of the major milk cooperatives in Kentucky, Cox says there is still no economically viable option for the remaining dairies. The trend of small, family-owned dairies going out of business is growing. To stop it, Cox says a major change needs to be made.
And I'm talking to our elected officials, I'm talking to the policymakers of Kentucky. We're losing 19 small businesses, many of them contributing more than $1 million a year to the local community in payroll and expenses and paying the bills. That's going to be gone. That's not going to come back.
The future of the beef industry rests in the hands of our young farmers, and many of them are ready for the challenge. At the Kentucky State FFA Convention June 5th and 6th, students from across the state pledged to join the One of 38,000 Young Farmer Initiative, which aims to help young beef enthusiasts start or continue their own operations.
We're here today doing our signing day with Kentucky Beef Council, and that's basically about bringing the young kids that are graduating back to the farm, keeping them interested in agriculture. And what a better way than here at the State FFA Convention to have them here, when there's thousands of them here coming to see us.
I grew up on an Angus farm. We raise between 50 and 60 head, and we also do tobacco, and I also show cattle. My ag teacher encouraged me to join because I plan on having my own farm one day, and I just have a passion for cattle that I can't even put into words. So I was hoping that this would kind of get my own farm off the ground.
I've been in ag ever since I can remember. It goes back a few generations. My dad, my grandpa, his dad. It's just a family business pretty much. I signed today, and it's me saying that once I get out of high school, I'm not done with ag. I'm coming back. As soon as I get done, I'm going to have my own farm. I'm going to continue on, grow my family's beef herd, and probably just go back and support the agriculture of Kentucky and just try and further it as much as I can.
Our average farmer age is over the age of 60, And something that we're really trying to do is identify those who are interested, get them started, so whenever those our older producers are ready to retire, we're ensuring that we still have someone who can provide that quality product for the center of your plate.
Over 20 students signed the Pledge of Convention. In the next year, the signees will take part in educational and networking opportunities to improve their production plans. For more info on the One of 38,000 Young Farmer Initiative, or to get involved, contact Nikki Ellis at nellis@kykattle.org. According to the most recent USDA estimates, 2018 commercial beef production is forecasted to total 27.43 billion pounds, making it one of the largest annual totals on record. With the discussion of the implications of this record, here's Kenny Burdine, your UK Extension livestock economist.
The first to me is the most obvious. This cow herd has grown. We have to remember that beef cow numbers hit a 50-year low in 2014. And since that time period, we've added quite a bit of cows to the cow herd. Specifically, in 2017, the beef cow herd was 3.5% larger. We have to remember that when we think about 2018 beef production, it's really that 2017 calf crop. Those calves that were born in 2017 were placed on feed in the second half of 17 and the first half of 18, and that's going to be our 2018 beef production. So the first is the most simple, and that's the fact that we've simply got more cows out there, which means more calves and more cattle on feed. Secondly, female slaughter has been higher this spring. When the cow herd's growing, we're holding back heifers. At the same time, we're culling fewer cows. So we tend to see fewer females in the actual beef system. However, the last several months this spring, we've seen a lot more cows and a lot more heifers coming to slaughter. And that's actually worked to increase beef production some for the first part of this year. Third, I think there's a little bit of an anomaly in our current cattle on feed numbers. If you go back really starting last fall, we've been running very high cattle on feed numbers compared to a year ago. For example, March of this year, cattle on feed numbers were 9% above March of the previous year. For April, they were 7% above. And these obviously are much more than would be expected given the size of the calf crop last year. It's important to remember that our fall cattle markets are very heavily impacted by wheat grazing. A lot of the spring-born calves that are sold in the fall go to the southern plains to be placed on wheat pasture. This was not a very good winter for wheat grazing. So USDA, when they put out their January 1 numbers for 2018, actually estimated a 13% decrease in the number of cattle that were being grazed on small grains. And at the same time, from what I've heard from my colleagues across the country, there were also a lot of calves that were placed on wheat pasture this winter that ended up having to be moved sooner due to weather conditions. So when those cattle couldn't go on wheat pasture, the alternative was they went directly on feed. So I think it led to somewhat of an artificial increase in our cattle on feed numbers. Now, as we speak here in the spring, we're working through those numbers, but I think that's the third reason why we're seeing a larger beef production level right now than we might have been expecting a couple of years ago.
May Beef Month kicked off summer grilling season while celebrating Kentucky and giving back to communities in need. Tying together two of Kentucky's greatest traditions, beef and bourbon, the Beef, Bourbon, and Bluegrass campaign partnered with 5 local distilleries to feature bourbon-infused beef recipes at events throughout the month. But Beef Month was more than just grilling beef. It was also about giving back to the 1 in 6 Kentuckians that are food insecure. In partnership with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture's Hunger Initiative, the Kentucky Association of Food Banks, local county cattlemen's associations, and Wildcat Warehouse, Beef Month Gives Back was able to donate 2,000 pounds of ground beef and enough money for local Kentucky food banks to provide more than 30,000 meals. Be sure to mark these dates on your calendar. June 20th, Beef Improvement Federation Annual Convention in Loveland, Colorado. June 27th, Small Limited Resource and Beginning Farmer Education Series at the Yards. August 31st, KCA Hall of Fame applications due to the KCA office. September 28th, KJCA Fall Classic in Logan County, Kentucky. Follow the KCA Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more clips and extended content. To download a copy of this segment, visit kykattle.org and tune into our next segment in July. Thanks for watching Kentucky Cattle News, where we're always thankful for farm families, healthy herds, and tasty traditions.